Hey guys, it's your favorite local Okie shaman. I am starting a new series, and this is going to be the first video in that series. It's a video because I can't figure out how to get audio uploaded. I've tried twice, but I know how to make a little video. This series is called The Red Dirt Gospels. So what I'm gonna do is just as I feel inspired. I don't have like a posting timeline. I think I kind of stress myself out when I tell myself I'm gonna post X amount of videos or at X amount of time or whatever. So as I feel that inspiration, as things come up, and I feel like it's something I want to share with you guys, instead of trying to turn it into a text post which gets lost in a journal somewhere, I'm just gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna give you guys that time with me and talk about it and get it out. And if it's 15 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, if it's an hour, whatever that winds up looking like, that's what we're going to do. So the Red Dirt Gospels will be specific to Patreon. That way I can, kind of fund my art endeavors. I know I post a lot on Facebook already. I'm still working on pulling everything to Patreon, but I think this will be a good way to share some really good personal insights with you guys, specifically to give you guys that one-on-one attention that you deserve for being so supportive of me. And in the background here, we've got my September totem for my fertility, and we've got my little Loki totem who watches me work and makes chaos for me. He does not make chaos for me. Loki actually helps guide me through a lot of chaos. So let's go ahead and get into it. As you guys know, I'm an animist, or if you didn't know that, now you do. Surprise, surprise. What animism means to me, animism is our oldest form of religion. Animism existed way before we had even names in our mouths to give to the gods. So we were personifying faces and rocks and trees and caves and giving animals supernatural delineations and things as humans, as proto-humans, long before we ever had a culture of writing or a way to verbally transfer. Well, I guess we were verbally transferred. It was an oral tradition. Oral tradition is the oldest tradition, which is another reason why I just wanted to kind of talk instead of having to type everything. When you type things, you kind of lose a lot of the influence and purpose of the actual tone of words and everything. So while typing is a valid form of communication, it's not the only form of communication, and I prefer to actually speak about things. So once again, animism is the oldest form of religion, and that's what I practice at the core of everything I do. Give Odin my worship energy. That's not a word that is specific to the Christian faith. We do worship our gods in that we give them our energy and respect. So that's not a it's not a bad thing to say. I encounter that a lot in the pagan field. This whole I bow to no one. Well, sometimes I gotta sit the fuck down, so I do do a little bit of bowing every now and then, and also just as a sign of humility to the gods. I think it's silly to think that we never will come to the gods in a form of desperation, asking for help and guidance. That's what they're there for. So don't limit yourself. Don't let ego keep you from having a whole relationship with your deities because you're afraid to bow or whatever people, whatever that is that tells people they need to act a certain way all the time. So I get little, so everything, so in animism, everything has a life, right? Even the runes. Every rune is a different energy, a different part of the self. So it's a personified separate part of the self that, when together, forms the entirety of who we are on the tree of life as an individual. So everything kind of gives you that feedback when you allow it to. When you allow something to be alive, it will respond to you as if it is alive. You know, that's where we get a lot of our clairs from: clairaudio, clairsentient, clairvoyant, those types of understandings. Because obviously, obviously inanimate objects can't speak to you, but if you form that bond and connection with them, which is what shamanism is all about, is creating that bond with everything around us. You know, those things do start to communicate messages to you. And I believe in I believe everything has life. That's what animism is to me, is if I give it the respect and the space to speak to me and the humility to learn from it, everything talks to me. Everything gives me lessons, not just the gods, not just the trees. I allow space for everything, and sometimes not weird, but sometimes things that other people would not really talk to, I guess, talk to me. So this is what happened. This is what spurred this original video, the Red Dirt Gospels episode 1. I was making goulash. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I assume if you're local to Oklahoma, you know what it means. But if you're not, it's like an elbow noodle and hamburger meat and tomato soup. I've heard it called Slumgolian. That sounds weird to me. My uncle calls it that. I don't know if he's just fucking with me though. He might be. But anyway, so the elbow noodles. I was about to pour the elbow noodles. Hang on, my dog needs out, and he's being a rude little interrupting piglet. Come on, buddy. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. Go on. Here you go, Adam. Here you go, baby. Okay, sorry about that. You all know about Adam. He wants what he wants when he wants it. I value that in that dog. Anyways, I was working with the noodles. I was trying to decide how much to put in the pot that we have. My husband and I don't have a lot of cooking utensils. Now it's too loud. Alright. We're gonna get this figured, sorry. Oh my goodness. I'm not stopping this video because I'll never restart it if I do. Not everything can be perfect, right? This is a lesson in understanding that not everything is perfect. Okay, so making food. Making the goulash. I start just trying to decide how many of the elbow noodles to put in there. Come on in. These animals. Go lay down, buddy. Go on. I love you. Go on, Adam. Go lay down. Alright, the whole crew is here. Come on. Come on, Cheeky. Come here. Oh, sorry, shit. I just whacked her head on the camera. I'm sorry, Shooky. Ugh, what a mess, right? Normal people would edit this out, but I don't know how to edit, so we're just gonna let it go. Yeah, I see y'all. Okay, anyways, let's get going. Come on, sugars. Y'all are killing me right now. Okay. Everybody settled? Did everybody get their individual attentions? Everybody happy? Everybody doing good? Alright, I love y'all. You're messes, but you're my messes. Okay. Back to center. I was making this motherfucking goulash. When I started having to think about and kind of calibrate how much of the elbow noodles to use versus how big this pot was. We don't have a lot of cooking utensils because we're about to be moving into an RV. I don't even have the damn thing yet, but I'm just trusting that the universe is going to provide, as it always does. So we haven't been like, we don't, as things break or as we kind of like run out of stuff, we're not really replacing it in anticipation of moving into this more of like a tiny living situation. And that means that as our pots and pans, like the handles break, because we've been, like, we met each other in our 30s. So, of course, like, you have kind of like that first set of things that you get when you move out on your own. And we're at that stage in our lives where those items are sort of breaking and just getting worn out after, 10 to 14 years of being used. They're just at their breaking point now. So, as anything else would be, right? So we just have this one pot. We don't have like a soup pot anymore. The handle broke off of the soup pot, so we just have like a larger saucepan. But it works just fine for us. We're just two people, and everything we make in the saucepan that's like soup wise, it makes just enough plus a little more, which is, what else can you ask for, Anyway, so, but the thing is it doesn't give me a lot of room for error. If you want to have noodles to be able to expand, you have to leave enough room for them to get that space. And I'm the type of person, I like to cook my noodles in the sauce, so that I'm sure that there's a chef out there somewhere who's having a panic attack at the idea of that right now. But I like that because then they take on the flavor of whatever's in the pot, and not just water or salt. So with these elbow noodles, I was kind of like sitting with them, and I always just like, I guess it is just the animist in me, or maybe it's just, I think it is that animism. But instead of like trying to do everything by myself, if I'm working with something, I'll usually ask like, well, how many of you guys do you think need to be in here? And they just kept saying, the noodles themselves kept saying, just leave room for us to expand. And that kind of stuck with me, man. That really stuck with me. I was like, oh, okay. I knew that, right? These are concepts we already know, but like every now and then we just have these situations where we're thinking about something and it hits a little bit differently than it has ever hit before. And this was definitely one of those situations. Leave room for the noodles to expand. And they were very insistent on that. They didn't give me any specific instructions or a specific number or measurement. They just kept saying, leave room for the noodles to expand. And I can't really prevent or help or foresee much anymore as to when something is going to be like a sort of a profound occurrence for me, or a lesson, or whatever. And this definitely falls underneath that category, and it kind of hit me in the guts a little bit. And I realized that I was not allowing my noodles to expand. I was putting so much into my soup, my brain, my life, filling all the gaps with these raw noodles, right? That I wasn't leaving any room for anything to expand. I have such anxiety. I've been learning this lesson. Every month I kind of get like a new little like trigger for shadow work. It's just part of being on this path. Once you open yourself up to the gods and their lessons, and you give them certain goals that you want to accomplish, you kind of get these little like indications of like, okay, this month this is what we're going to be working on and whatnot. And last month, or this month, it's still September, this month, the big goal that I had for myself was to work on being okay in the middle portions, being okay relaxing between movement, understanding that rest is part of the cycle as much as action and movement is. And what I mean by that is, I would, even as far as like playing video games on my phone, because I don't like to buy like video games that have like microtransactions. I don't like to purchase money or diamonds or whatever to make those games go faster. But what that means is when I get to a point where I've farmed as much as I can, or Right now I'm playing this game called Merge Magic, which is a game where you take like 3 or more items and merge them together and they make something else or whatever. It's fun. I like it. It's fun. It's monotonous. But you do get to a point where you've kind of pulled everything together and created the next item out of those items you pulled together. And now you have nothing left to do. And in the past, I mean, literally the past being, you know, a few days ago, I would just download a new game and I would play that until I didn't have any more ways to move forward. And then I would download another one and download another one. Instead of just allowing the original game to that space, you know, doing something completely different. Why do I need to keep filling that space with new games? Why can't I move on to a new project? Or, you know, I'm always talking about how I don't have enough time, but here I am again, just adding more noodles to my goulash. So I'm standing there and my husband's like looking at me and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm just thinking about this. I'm just kind of having this moment, you know, of reflection on this, because I do think it's important. I think so much of our time spent in our lives is just filling the space, filling every fucking moment with something. And if we're not busy, we're not, you know, we're not accomplishing anything. If we're not moving and working and making sure that every single damn moment in our lives is filled with something, then somehow we're not fulfilled. And that's not true for everyone. I do know that there are people that do very well in that middle space between cause and effect. But I have not historically been very good at that. It gives me a lot of anxiety. And I think that that's a symptom of hypervigilance. I think I'm used to responding or reacting, but I'm not used to letting things sort of mellow. And that's the lesson that I learned from these elbow noodles. I'm very grateful for that. Leave room for your noodles to expand. You know, everything that I had put on my plate, that was just the noodle in its raw form. That was just, yeah, of course I could, yeah, you know, of course the pot seems empty, right? Of course, with just a few tasks on the list, the pot seems like it's not going to have enough in it. Like you're not doing enough, like there's not enough of an impact, not enough of a legacy, not enough, whatever, it doesn't matter. Not enough. Just reinforcing that fucking idea that if we're not busy every damn second, we're not enough. But those noodles have to have room to expand. Those concepts, those ideas, those things you're working on, that you have to leave them room. Because just because they look a certain way at the beginning, taking on a new project, doing something new socially, talking to a new person, inviting new energies into your life, those are all noodles in the raw. Of course, things are going to happen. The observable universe is always changing and always expanding. Of course, those things are going to change. So adding something onto your plate over and over and over again, just like the games, just like adding those games to my phone, each one of them leaves a little bit of a ghost in the memory. So it may not look like a lot, but every time I've put something on that phone and taken it back off, I lose just like that little, even if it's a slice or a shred, I'm still losing that little bit of space that wasn't necessary. Why did I need to download it and take it off? And, you know, why am I frantically trying to find something to, you know, give me that dopamine hit, and in a safe way. I mean, I don't, you know, it is safe and it's not safe. Anything that we do in excess is not safe, but I'm not doing drugs, at least. You know, that's always the go-to, right? But everything is a drug. Everything is something that further removes us from the anxiety of waiting, of anticipation, and being patient. So to that end, I did make myself a little art piece. And, you know, I'm always complaining I don't have time to make art, but when I'm constantly trying to fill the space, I'm not giving my art time to expand. And instead of doing multiple little pieces to commemorate this lesson that I learned from elbow noodles, I simply made one. So this is my elbow noodle. It gave me a chance to come up with a new way of exploring clay and the texture. And on the side, I wrote the message, leave room for your nudes. Which I thought was very funny. I had a lot of fun making the piece, which is normally I'm just really focused on getting them made and zoning out enough to not be bored with the process. But by working on one piece and by giving myself time to really think about how I wanted to convey the message, I was able to make this one neat little kind of hand, like I would think it would be like a hand totem to remind me, or I will probably, but everything I make, I want to be a full-time artist. So everything I make, I've already discussed with Thor, like everything, because Thor, to me, Thor is the god of art. He's the god of making things on the material plane. So everything I make will pretty much be for sale, except for like certain things like religious totems that are for me and stuff. But yeah, this guy, he and I got to sit together and got to really think about what I wanted, and they were really chill about it. They were just really kind of like, hey man, like don't be freaking out all the time, just like leave room for your nudes, you know. So that's my first episode. That's what I want you guys to think about, or you don't have to think about it. I just wanted to share that with you more than anything. There's no homework from these. This is just something I've been really thinking about. This is one of those things that I've told myself I don't have time for. And then also, like, not being able to upload audio, I was like, well, you know, I don't know how to do it. But everything is about adapting and overcoming. And I don't know how to upload audio, but I do know how to upload these videos. And I can do that until I figure it out, or until something changes and makes room. I want it to be kind of like more of a podcast than a video series, like a vlog or something. I like podcasts, but once again, I don't know how to host that, so I'm just gonna do it like this until I figure that out. But yeah, leave room for your noodles to expand. Don't worry about filling every space, every nook and cranny, because you're gonna miss out on the good parts of what's already in there. It is enough. You're enough. What you're doing is enough. Leave room for your nudes. And that's the noon bell, so I think that's as good a time as any. This has been the first episode of the Red Dirt Gospel, and I'm your Red Dirt Shaman. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.